Alright, today's Wednesday the 27th, and apologies if the audio is a little off. I'm not at my regular setup today. And this is also not the typical time that I record these updates, but I'm doing it in the middle of the week, because it's my series and I can do what I want. And what I want to do is I want to get this over with, go over the last basically month of my trading almost, because the next few days I'm going to be doing a lot more trading, so I want to start a new episode. We're going to be going all the way back to the beginning of August. Starting off on Bitcoin, my first trade attempt was on the 4th, and this was after getting a retrace from all-time highs, so we did form a bit of a range, but we kind of came lower than the range, and we just put in what would become the range low for, I don't know, the next 20 days or so. And at this point, we started seeing some bullish things. We started breaking market structure, and we began, kind of a lower time frame uptrend. I was looking to capitalize on that. It looks like I entered after this retrace. I remained in this trade throughout all this, but eventually, once we came back down below my entry, I had de-risked my trade at this point. I put my stop loss kind of loosely below this higher low right here, so that got stopped out for a small loss of about $1. So yeah, even though I was briefly up about a 2-to-1, did not take any profit there, did not put my stop loss entry, so that one ended up being a loss. My next trade was on the 7th, and that would be this one right here. So yeah, another loss, a $3.6 loss there, and it appears like this one I was trading a local range. We had a local range here. We recently took out the low, got a rotation back up, got swung back down to the downside, got some SFPs at the low, and for whatever reason, I was looking to long this. Obviously, trading a range low is in itself a valid enough trade setup. Looking at market slavery at this time, I mean, it is hard to tell what I was trying to long, but maybe there was something in order flow telling me that maybe there's some shorts opening here or longs getting stopped out. We are seeing wicks to the low, possibly even some Wyckoff here. But if I play this one out, it did ultimately end up being a loss. Once this one didn't immediately play out in my favor, I probably should have looked to exit. When it starts stalling like this, especially stalling and kind of continuing to trend downwards, when this kind of thing happens, I really should look to exit at a break even when I get the chance, but I did not, and I ended up taking a $3.63 loss on that one. Not too long after, it looks like the next day, I attempted another long trade. I guess I was in this one for a while. I was briefly in profit, or I guess I was in profit for a good amount of time, but I was not really up all that much. I was up at 2-to-1, and there was plenty of opportunity to TP at a 2-to-1, but a 2-to-1 usually doesn't cut it for me. I like to aim for those higher risk rewards, and this time it bit me in the ass, because we came back down later and stopped me out. That one was a $3.8 loss. Next, a trade on Antarctic. I attempted another long trade here, and looking at the context, we are still in an uptrend. Bitcoin is still making overall higher highs and higher lows, so I was looking for another swing back to the upside, targeting this high. So this one did play out immediately. We retraced my entry, held VWAP, and it looks like it started turning back to the upside. And I'm not actually sure how this one turned out, but it looks like this one was a winner. So I only hit, maybe 1 or 2 TPs on this one. Nothing crazy. It looks like we pretty soon after came back down to stop me out. I believe I took 1 TP and then actually got stopped out in profit. I moved my stop loss either here or here. I don't remember. But yeah, it looks like either one of those would have got hit. So yeah, I believe that's what happened. I took 1 TP and then got stopped out in profit for the rest. Not a great trade, but we banked some profit there. Next is an ETH trade. So yeah, this one was on the 10th. And on Antarctic, we can see that I took a loss on that ETH trade, $3.73. And it looks like I was just attempting a long trade at a high. Sometimes the bullishness can tempt me to do things like this, even though I know it's usually not the best idea to long at a high. Apparently on a lower time frame, I was seeing something there despite the SFPs of the high. And now going back to Bitcoin. So firstly, was this long trade where it looks like I just entered off a reaction. I did not wait for structure or anything like that. And this one was a break even, so I assume that I just de-risked it quickly and then we came back down to my entry. Either that or I put my stop loss to entry over here, one of the two. I'm not sure when I got stopped out, but I think I can check. Yeah, okay, I was in this trade for 7 hours or so, so I would assume that that would be over here. Yep, so it looks like I got stopped out at break even right there. I then shortly after attempted another long trade once we started reclaiming VWAP there and playing that one out. That one ended up being a loss. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could have waited for a better reclaim of VWAP, maybe a stronger break above this high, but yeah, I kind of got a little impatient with that one, and I took a loss of just about $6. So that one was over a 1% risk. Yeah, I guess I was feeling confident about that one. Not sure why. In hindsight, not looking like a very good trade. And I then attempted one more after getting stopped out of that one. This one was a reaction trade following a sweep of this low. I assume I was looking at the divergences and maybe something on order flow. Maybe longs got stopped out there, but for whatever reason, I was feeling a long after sweeping that low. And it seems like this one played out decently nice. So somehow, I actually ended up taking a loss on this one. I think we need to go to a lower time frame because I assume that I bailed out of this one immediately. I think that might have been what happened. I'm not even sure what happened with this one, but I somehow took a $3.75 loss on a trade that looks like it should have been a winner. And yep, I bailed out of this trade 3 minutes after entering it, so that is what happened. So yeah, this was clearly not a very good trading day for me. Some, pretty frustrating trades back to back. And the next trade that I took was up here. I tried a short trade. And yeah, I mean, playing it out, I see why, but I definitely took, an aggressive approach here. I could have definitely waited for a more confident entry, and apparently I should have because I took a loss on this one. It does appear like I de-risked it though, so I think what happened is once we continued structure down, I moved my stop loss to cover the last lower high, and I got stopped out. For this entire move to the upside, I was getting absolutely chopped up. Very poor trading from me. And continuing to play it out, we eventually took out all-time high and retraced from it. And I was looking for a long trade over here. Kind of spoiled it there, but that one appears to be a loss as well. It was a pretty fat loss, a $6.84 loss. So what I believe happened is I took a 1% risk, but I either moved my stop loss to the downside or this fat candle triggered it lower than I wanted to. But for whatever reason, I took more of a loss than I intended. Next was all the way down here on the 19th. This one, again, a sweep of a range low. Looks like this one should have been a winner, but let's check and see if it was. Actually, before I do that, I have some ETH trades to go over very briefly because these were both losses. So I took 2 attempts at a long trade on ETH here, and going to a lower time frame, we can see that both of them were failures. I guess this one and this one were my position. I was maybe looking for an addition here, but yeah, 2 trades on the 17th on Antarctic, and those would be these 2 positions right here, minus about $2 and minus $4. Now getting back to this Bitcoin trade, this one actually did end up being a winner, so I locked in $10 on it. Not the greatest, since I think this one did end up running for quite a while. Actually, not really. Yeah, I guess I locked in a decent amount of profit on this one. I'm not sure if I took a 1% or a 0.5% risk, but if I took 0.5% risk, then this was actually a pretty good trade. Maybe I closed out, fair amount at a 5 or 6 to 1, and then de-risked the rest of the trade. I probably covered this higher low with my stop loss, and then got stopped out over here. This type of trade setup would typically be a scalp trade. So yeah, I'll give it to myself. That was a decent winner, I suppose. Yeah, a short trade over here that ended up being a loss of about $6. So I took a 1% risk around that. Shorting the low, however, we were so close to my target. I do think this one made sense. This was, a decent continuation trade idea, continuing the overall downtrend. We were so close to the target, we hadn't hit it yet. But Bitcoin said not today, and we held out on hitting that support for a while. Yeah, we didn't hit that level until about 11 hours later. And then we got a very aggressive pump from it, which actually ended up being a false break. So we broke above a lower high, just to eventually come lower later. And after getting that move below the range low once again and actually hitting my support box, I guess I'll actually pull on my Twitter for this because I made a decent call that I would like to shed some light on. Let's see. Yeah, so here on the 22nd of August, this was right after we took out the range low, but front ran my support box. We got that break above the lower high. And basically, I was saying, hey, we hit the range low, but we didn't hit my support box that was just below it. We front ran it, and that made me think that we could possibly head back down there at some point. But at this point, I was still looking for a retrace to long. Now, I did not attempt a long trade during this retrace, luckily, because it turned out not to be a retrace, and we even tried to hold up the uptrend by SFPing the low, but I guess we eventually closed 4-hour candles lower. You can technically say that we never broke structure back, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, all right, well, we continued a lower high. So yeah, regardless, that was, a decent call. Hey, I was looking for a move back down here, and we got that, but unfortunately, I did not get a long trade from it. Now, I did attempt one a little later on because we started ranging here. We SFP'd the low of the range, so I was liking that. Divergences, all that, potentially making for a nice low. These long attempts, I think, were pretty valid. Yeah, I mean, we got back above VWAP. We were showing strength in this uptrend. It was appearing a little weak, but then we got a strong break here. So following the retrace, I was looking to just basically long and follow the trend. So I entered first here on the break because I didn't want to miss it. Because, during super bullish times like this, a lot of times you will get the break and then just bang to your target. I've missed a lot of good trades, trying to be too patient. So at this point, I was like, all right, well, I'd rather be aggressive, maybe take a slightly riskier trade than, possibly miss a good trade setup. So I went the aggressive route, and I also looked to add once we retraced. So I ended up with a total of about a 1.5% risk on this overall idea, which, if I play it out, went against me. Not what I would have expected, especially, considering the bullish signs that we got here, the continuation of structure above VWAP, but nope, we just ended up coming lower. The dump was not done. And in fact, we dumped down to my next support box, so we even took out this range low. And that was all the trading I did. Since then, I haven't taken another trade for the TCQ challenge. Bitcoin is attempting to reclaim the larger range, so yeah, I mean, we got a pretty far move down below the overall range low, but I would still look at this as potentially just a sweep of the range low, and if we can reclaim it, then I think we're back to ranging, and I think we can look for a rotation back to the upside. That is all the trading I did over the last month. Pretty poor. The one silver lining for the last month is that I am still in my ETH trade, and my ETH trade is doing a lot better than it was last time. I think it was at about 40 bucks unrealized, and that is currently doubled. I really haven't done anything with my ETH trades. I am still in my other ETH trade, my Coin M1, and I have not taken any more profits. Even though on my Twitter I did mention that there was a potential that I close out my trades entirely, and I did go over why I did not do that. Because Bitcoin is holding support, we are so far holding the larger range low, so that happens, and I think ETH can hold as well, despite it technically getting a bearish sign following the SFP of all-time high. We are in bar replay, but yeah, this was definitely sketching me out, but so far I am still in them. There we go, I plugged everything in. So the results are, even though I took a lot of losses, I am not down all that much, thanks to my ETH unrealized profit, kind of saving me here. But still, I don't think my trading over the last month was really anything to be proud of. I somehow did not, affect my overall stats that negatively, though. Now my mission is to have a better episode next time, and hopefully I can even make it a shorter episode. I mean, if I can just really bang out some trades over the next 3 days, and then maybe I can have another episode out by, I don't know, next week or something like that. So yeah, that's my goal at this point. And that does it for this episode. So thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you all in the next one.